What's good, YouTube? Back here with another video. Today we're about reacting to some Inside Edition. Inside Edition. Yeah, Inside Edition. Who is a West Virginia lawmaker who broke to the Capitol? The Capitol, bro. I can't believe they just let them go inside, bro. Imagine it's different colored people. They'll bring the military out much faster.
One of the people arrested for the January 6th Capitol assault was Derek Evans, an elected official from West Virginia.
Wow.
But people who know Evans say this latest incident is part of a pattern of threatening behavior. Kyle Vass is a West Virginia-based freelance journalist who's covered Derek Evans.
Evans wasn't really a known figure throughout West Virginia, I wouldn't say, until he started live streaming himself on Facebook, going to the Women's Health Center, which is a women's health clinic in Charleston, West Virginia. He'd filmed himself standing outside and just yelling at women and anybody who was...
Why the fuck is there a lady clapping, bro? He's literally saying he doesn't like women, bro.
And just yelling at women.
Look at her.
Women and anybody who was working at the clinic. If he saw somebody working there going in and out of the doors, he would yell at them and you know, say, how can you do this? How dare you work at a place like this? You're killing babies.
Jamie Miller encountered Evans during her volunteer shifts at the Women's Health Center.
Derek Evans just showed up at the Women's Health Center one day, and I remember that it was really cold outside, like it was snowing, and he was videotaping it and live streaming.
He started harassing the escorts. He would call them death escorts, and he would, you know, essentially dox them. He would find out information about people like Jamie and start going up to them and saying off-putting, creepy things.
They would, you know, all scream my name and I'll say things about my business, say things about my looks, call me names, you know, and it was constantly berated, and it was all live streamed, and he knew my name, knew where I lived, knew my number, like everything.
I got my t-shirt on today, Jamie. What's up with that? Heard from my lawyer yet?
Saying their full names, saying, oh, I saw you were at such and such the other night on Facebook. How was that? You know, engaging them on an intimate level.
His eyes like that?
That from the women I talked to made them feel very uncomfortable, like they were being stalked.
And so I became like kind of the focal point of the harassment. It was not fun.
A lot of West Virginians learned about who Derek Evans was as a result of
He's a creep.
Right, of him live streaming.
Miller took out a restraining order on Evans.
He wasn't supposed to say my name. He wasn't supposed to be at my employer, which was the Women's Health Center. He wasn't supposed to talk about me online or even have his followers talk about me online. Nobody was supposed to, I was not supposed to be part of this at all. And he showed up at the Women's Health Center and he talked about me, and he had his followers talking about me, and they were saying that I was a liar, that, you know, that the order wasn't real, that it didn't happen, that I'd made it up, you know, so it was the same kind of bully.
The Charleston City Council passed an ordinance that made it so that protesters like Evans couldn't congregate around the center. They had to stay a certain number of feet away. And so that kind of died down. You know, it fixed that part of the problem.
But Evans used his notoriety to seek a greater platform.
A few months later, his face started popping up on billboards all around this area. And it was Derek Evans, House of Delegates. He was running for the House of Delegates. And when I personally saw it, it took me a minute to register. Where do I know that name? I recognize that face. And it was like, oh, wow, that's the same guy. That's the same guy who was filming himself outside the Women's Health Center. This is, you know, he's running for office. And wasn't that the same guy who had a restraining order taken out against him?
When I heard that he was going to run for office, I thought, there's no way in the world that this man would win. You know, there's just, how could he? that he ran for office as House of Delegates, and he won a seat in our House.
Evans took office on December 1st, 2020. A month later, he was in Washington, D.C.
Yes! Wow.
We're going in. On January 6th, when the U.S. Capitol building was stormed, Derek Evans live streamed himself participating in this, going through the doors into the rotunda and occupying the Capitol building. It's made headlines as he was an elected official.
My order ended December 31st, and within 8 days, he had federal charges.
West Virginia state lawmaker Derek Evans is facing charges after live streaming himself entering the United States Capitol with rioters.
Evans has been charged with 1 count of knowingly entering or remaining in any restricted building or grounds without lawful authority, and 1 count of violent entry and disorderly conduct on Capitol grounds.
When he came back a few days later, the FBI showed up to arrest him, and a couple of days after that, he announced his resignation.
To me, you know, it was a little bit, a weight was lifted when he had to resign, that he won't be there to make laws for our people here.
But Evans's arrest and resignation may not mean he will step away from his activities.
Can't comment on what Derek Evans is going to do, obviously, but it is my understanding of the rules as written that despite the fact he's resigned, and despite the fact that he's facing charges, he would still be eligible to run again for office.
We were kind of wondering if he doesn't have charges and if he doesn't go to jail, if he'll come back to the clinic. If he comes back, I will get a restraining order. Yeah, definitely. Yes.
This is it.
Hey man, what y'all doing? But subscribe. Fuck is y'all talking about?